everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Cozy Christopher. Today we're talking about the new Madden 21 franchise update. This is one of the biggest updates that we've seen in a while, and I'm going to tell you why, from the jump, why these updates are going to be so important going forward. For starters, this is my main franchise that I play in now. Let's look at my team. Let's look at my roster. So I am 2 seasons in. I have Jalen Hurts as my quarterback, got him from Philly. I have Justin Fields, picked him up in the draft this year. I have Todd Gurley as my running back, John Ross as my running back, picked him up out of free agency and made him a running back. Alvin Kamara picked up out of free agency. Darius Geis was in free agency. Jay McKinnon is there. The only reason I had him there because I had some people injured. But let's go to my receivers. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, and Jalen Waddle out of the draft this year. Tight end Mike Gesicki from Miami. Juwan Bushell-Beatty is my left tackle. Quentin Nelson is my left guard. Jason Kelsey as my center. David DeCastro as my right guard. And Mitchell Schwartz as my right tackle. Are you starting to get a I guess a theme here, right? Trade logic is horrible in Madden. I mean, these offensive linemen I think I got for like safeties and a 4th round draft pick apiece. Like the trade logic in the game has been wonky and like have been able to take advantage of that for years. So look at my offense because of my receiving core, my offensive line, my running backs, and then my quarterbacks. It's been kind of, it's almost comical how how good of a team that you can create. But the franchise, I play a franchise by myself, right? I've said this several times. I'm not an online player, if you will. A lot of the games that I play in my home by myself for the enjoyment of me alone. But one of the things that they address is going to be the trade logic, and we'll get into that in a second. Another thing that you see here, the league history. Obviously, there's nothing here because that's the first update we're going to talk about. Is that within the league history, you cannot start and acquire the history right away. So they're not going to go, like if you're playing right now and you got the update today, they're not going to go back last year or the year before that or a couple years back if you've already played a couple seasons and find that information for you. It's only going to be the information going forward. So because of let me show you. Let's quit this one. I simmed a franchise so that you all can see. So this is my main franchise right here. Classic franchise, New Orleans Falcons. This is the one that I just simmed just for the benefit of showing you all the league history, if you will. So as you can see here, I have not played this, but I simmed it for about 4 or 5 years or whatever it is. And we're going to go back to that same thing. We're going to go to league history. And now you have league history. Look at this. This is freaking beautiful. This is talking to you about the history from last year's game, last year's Super Bowl in this particular franchise, if you will. So the 2027 champions were the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 5-time AFC champion all of a sudden. They're the MVP, Super Bowl MVP was Joe Burrow. Coach of the year was the Bengals, Zach Taylor. Titans, Randy Johnston was the quarterback, NFL MVP. Offensive player of the year was Buccaneers quarterback, Bob Perkins. So, I mean, that should just tell you right there because we all know the GOAT is down there in Tampa Bay. But let's go back through a couple more seasons. Here's another one. Super Bowl MVP quarterback Daniel Jones. But what? Coach of the year Bill O'Brien, Texans. Offensive player of the year Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz. And we know he's gone. I mean, but I started this franchise with the players roster, if you will, and just simmed forward. And as you can see, here's the history of everything that's happened since I first simmed. MVP Buccaneers, they didn't win it that year. They got the Kansas City Chiefs win it that year. But super sweet that there's history now. So the next update is going to be draft picks, which I told you is important now. So like when you looked at my last when you looked at my last franchise there, you could see that draft pick value was horrible. I didn't show you that. I barely have any draft picks. It's like year 2 going into year 3, and I barely have any draft picks because literally all I would do is take a player that's like 76, 78, and give them two decent picks, 3rd and 4th round, and I'd get a high powered player. I was able to trade, get Jalen Hurts from Philadelphia for a safety, no, actually a running back and a couple picks. That won't happen anymore going forward. They have now basically made quarterbacks the most valuable commodity within the NFL, which I mean that's on par with what's happening in reality at this point. If you're a young franchise player, you're not going to be able to. Oh my God, this roster's trash. If you're a young franchise player, you're not going to be able to just be traded easily if they think that you're capable of being a franchise player. So let's look at this guy here. Let's see what his value is on the market for somebody that needs a quarterback. See, he's in the green. Let's go over here and find somebody that needs a quarterback here. Who's this guy? Jared Williams. Okay, he's nice. Jared Judy. Let's check out their quarterback situation. Locke. Okay, he's 75. He's not a franchise guy. Let's see if they'll consider this guy for somebody decent. Let's go halfback Claiborne. Let's see what look at that. Trade accepted. So there you go. There's proof right there. The trade logic now. And as you can see, less valuable age or depth trait for the halfback. For the Broncos, feedback player is not a good scheme fit. However, he's still a 4-star. He's a 75 overall young quarterback, franchise quarterback. So they're going to be putting a lot of emphasis on age, skill set at the age, depth traits, and different things like that. And you're going to start seeing that in those trade packages there. Likewise, let's look at the value of a decent lineman. That's another thing. Let's see. Left tackle, as we know, is almost the most second valuable position. Here's a young guy, 78 overall, age 26. Let's see. What can we give him? What can we give for this guy? Let's go to draft picks. Let's go. Oh, yeah, I'm really trash. Look at that. I got first round draft pick this year. First pick in the first round this year. That's sheesh. Let's do a second round in there. Second round, 33rd pick. Trade accepted. So you got second round. So now you have high value picks, less valuable age or depth trait for this particular guy. Good value for draft pick. They gave it a 3-star. He's a 2-star. They let the trade rock. That wasn't that good of an example because I didn't expect them to take that for that. But let's do this. I got the first round draft pick, right? I got the first pick, first round. Let's go find somebody that normally would not be able to be traded. And let's see. This guy's a 91 overall. That's not a trade that normally would rock. He's 26. Jared Judy's old all of a sudden. Let's go find somebody that Myles Garrett. Let's see if this rocks. Trade accepted. So if you have the first round, first pick. Now in real life, Myles Garrett, but I don't know if that'll rock in real life, but there's proof that they're adding the appropriate values or the perceived appropriate values for the trades. Those are some wonky trades there. I think I could still run through some stuff with that. So let's go on to the next thing, which is going to be as I said, their draft pick values. Team philosophy. So going forward, there's going to be differences, and I'll just read this one for you, and I'll put it on the screen for you to see it. So teams will have more nuanced perspectives of valuing players and draft picks from their own and opponents. This creates a situational concept in franchise that we see all the time in the NFL. Just because a team is more open with trading a draft pick in the championship contention window doesn't mean that team should or does not still value draft picks at all as a core philosophy. So that's pretty freaking cool, where if a team is now geared, that they're in position to make a run for the championship, that's going to be a basis on whether or not they're going to be willing to trade players or draft picks, etc., within that particular window. So that's some super cool logic if you think about, like, that's borderline artificial intelligence, and which is pretty cool. Next thing, we got player value modifiers, which is again return value increase modifiers for players in the first year of their contracts and players who are rookies. Added logic to no longer apply bonus first year of contract value to players who are only signed to 1-year contracts. Previously, all players on 1-year contracts were receiving a value bonus that was only intended for players on long-term contracts. Age value tuning, which is what we just talked about. Every player position received a new customized age value curve that keeps player value authentically updated as players get older in franchise. So that makes sense. As players age, the more the age impacts on the value. So that's also something that's going to play a part of quarterbacks, whereas quarterbacks age, they don't lose their value as much as a running back that loses their value over time. A corner, after about year 8, year 9, and they start losing that step, people start looking at them, funny, as you still have these, blazing fast receivers that they have to guard, and they start worrying about things like speed, agility, awareness, different things like that. Not awareness, that doesn't change with age, that actually gets better. But you get my drift. They're going to start paying more attention to a player as they age and what that value might looks like, which is probably why I was able to get Myles Garrett for a first round pick. Even though it was a first round pick, it's still Myles freaking Garrett, right? One of the best defensive players in the country, in the league right now. But there is 7 years down the road, Myles Garrett, I got him with a first round pick, so that makes sense. And they talk about the quarterback specific value improvements again. And I'll link this document in the description below. But it's cool that they finally got back to basically having, real value within trades and things like that, as well as adding the appropriate values to the quarterbacks, the draft picks, and then adding that league history to the franchise mode. Now, Madden 22, if you see in the back, and I'll go back to this. If you see in the back, if you see in the back of the video that he posted.
With this final title update, we will have delivered several highly requested franchise features to Madden NFL. Those improvements include trade logic, league history, X Factor customization, career stats on player cards, playoff brackets, draft logic tuning, commissioner tools including play call house rules, and much more.
You see basically an update where they say, next year, and don't get me wrong, companies are starting to do this on purpose. Microsoft has done it all year with their updates, leaving props in the backgrounds of their meetings and stuff like that, leaving your mind to wonder if that's going to be something that's going to, come to fruition down the road. And now Madden is doing it here. He's saying that there's more to come. Madden 22, we've been working all around the clock and all these things to add new features to the franchise, and we're going to continue to build on the franchise. And in the back of his video, he has basically a coach's carousel in the background where there's special teams coaches, defensive coordinators, and different stuff like that they're bringing back to the franchise mode. So now it's leaving us to wonder. It's leading us to basically speculate and talk over the next 5 or 6 months what's going to show up in that new Madden game. And they know what they're doing these days, and it's actually pretty exciting. But at the same time, it's like, dang, man, I didn't want to know that today, right? So super excited to see what happens in the next Madden 22. I'm hoping that they get back to like that back in the days where you could create a team, put your logo on it, even the generic Tibby Ryan logos and all of that stuff, right? Like, I hope they get back to those days where you could build your teams, your uniforms. I mean, I'm all about uniforms, right? Oregon's one of my favorite teams. I'm all about uniforms, having that swag, being able to move to a new city, build up the team in that particular city. Before the Raiders, landed in Vegas, that would be my destination. I would always take my team to Vegas, or Mexico City, and have an international team. And every once in a while, I do London, and I make some freaking sweet uniforms and stuff like that through the uniform creator. Put it in the game and play that way. And then also like build your stadium. Like if I have a wish list, let me build my stadium. Like if you think about all these new stadiums, the Falcons' new stadium, the Chargers' new stadium, et cetera, Minnesota's new stadium, let me build my stadium. Like, if you let me build my stadium, I won't complain anymore. But super happy with the updates that they've added, this time around. The history is one thing where I'm like, dude, I've been kicking ass for years and you guys haven't, I can't go back and see that I was the MVP last year, blah, blah, blah. I digress. But I'm happy with those. I'm happy with the updates. Going forward, my biggest wish list is let me create my team and my uniform and let me create my stadium, and I'm happy. I won't complain no more. But in conclusion, I do want to touch on the fact that for the first time, I feel like Madden is better than 2K. I know I just wanted to wait for you all's reaction because it's crazy, right? But for the first time, and I'm not talking about Madden or 2K21 that was on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One X. I'm talking about Madden 2K Next Generation. Madden Next Generation has been trash. It's still a good game. The story of my career mode, is great, and it's a cool ride. Good narrative. But man, it crashes all the freaking time, and they're not talking about it like they were when it first came out, and people were kind of talking about it for a quick second. It kind of hushed real quick. They probably greased some hands a little bit, grease some palms, if you will, because it's the same thing as Cyberpunk. Like, the game comes out, it doesn't look bad, it still looks great, but if I've put real money into my character and then 2 months later that character disappears and you won't give me my money back, like, huh? So for the first time, I will say that there was noticeable improvements in Madden. Whereas when I played the PlayStation 4 version and I played my first season, and then I came over and played my second season, there is noticeable improvements to the mechanics. There's noticeable improvements with the next gen stats. There's noticeable improvements to the way that it looks, the way your people move around. So I'm happy with the update that they provided from a PlayStation 4 to the next gen, and it makes sense why they at first didn't want to give it to you for free, but then they acquiesced later on. But it makes sense because I had to pay for my copy of 2K, and I was literally irritated because it's trash. Like, it's a good game and trash at the same time. And before I get off my soapbox, I don't like the fact that it forces you to play online before you can get to the city now. And I almost made a video about my experience while I was playing in people's colorful language and the terms they like to use that are pretty derogatory. But I don't know. I may go back and make that video maybe when they drop the next one. It might be a little late now as far as timing compared to everybody else. But yeah, I'm off my soapbox now. Rant over. Get that out of here. But yeah, super happy. Let me know what you think about the new updates to Madden. Let me know what your wish list is. Let me know if you've been playing Madden today. Like, there was a second where I didn't want to play it, and I stopped playing it for 2 seasons because it was the same thing every single year. But let me know if you're still playing. Let me know what your thoughts are about the new updates, and if you're excited about it, if you start playing it again because of the updates. Let me know if you're planning to get the next generation now that we got little tidbits about what's going on with the next one. I hope there's a coaching carousel next time. I hope that you really get to play with extra aspects of the franchise, and it's not just play the season, draft, play the season, draft, play the season. Like, I'm really looking forward to be excited about the extracurricular activities again in Madden, pricing stadiums, building stadiums, all of that good stuff that the last couple of years have just been like, last thing, Madden, EA, stop focusing on the ultimate teams and microtransactions and making us pay for card packs and all those different things. Put some emphasis on the franchise. Please continue to build the franchise, and I'll keep buying it every single year. $70, $80. I'll keep buying it as long as there's something for me to do in franchise mode that wasn't there the year before. So with that, in closing, I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Stay cozy in that crazy world, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.